Pioneer DJ have just announced and released Rekordbox 6, their latest offering from the Rekordbox software, alongside a new iOS app to help manage your library on the go. Welcome back, Jamie Hartley here from Crossfader, and today we're looking at Rekordbox 6.0, specifically what is new in this upgrade compared to Rekordbox 5 and how it's going to affect you as a DJ currently using Rekordbox. For anyone that just wants the highlights, I'm going to do a quick overview now for 2 minutes of all the latest features, and then after that we're going to deep dive into all of those latest features and I'll show you how they all work and what it means for the software, for you as a DJ, and how the new pricing structure is going to affect you too. So here's the quick overview. Firstly, the free version of the software now includes both export and performance mode on your laptop. No one-time payment anymore. Pioneer have moved to a new subscription model to access new features, but we'll get into that in more detail later. There's a new library system built now with cloud library syncing, currently with Dropbox and hopefully more supported soon. The centralized management for your music now means that streaming songs can be added to normal Rekordbox playlists. Great new feature. There's also in-flight promo support. You can access the latest tracks directly from labels on your mailing list inside the software. There's a few GUI upgrades too, such as light skin mode, a new 3-band EQ waveform, and a few new minor icons. The new auto relocate is amazing, so missing files are a thing of the past now. Any live electronic performers are going to welcome Ableton Link. This is technology that's been around a long time, but it's now been implemented into the Rekordbox software. In export mode, you can mobile library sync to export music to your iPhone, which can then be connected to CDJs or XDJ players, and you can play directly from your iPhone rather than a USB stick. This with it brings a whole new Rekordbox app for the iPhone. The new GUI in there is just so intuitive. I can't get enough of it, but more on that later, like I said. In the app, you can easily manage your music library stored in the cloud, set hot cues, memory points, edit grids, create playlists all on the go, and then the data syncs with your library back on your laptop. You can even test how mixes would sound with a 2-player mode. And there we have it, a real quick overview of what's new in Rekordbox 6 and the new iOS app. Are you ready to deep dive? Let me explain a bit more about what all those features mean for you as a DJ. So firstly, what everyone is going to want to know who's currently using Rekordbox, what does this new subscription model mean for you and your service? Well, first of all, Rekordbox 5 is a totally different piece of software to Rekordbox 6. If you installed them, it doesn't overwrite the old software, it's a new piece of software. So you need to bear that in mind. You can still use Rekordbox 5 if you choose not to get Rekordbox 6, and it's still going to be supported. But if you decide to go to Rekordbox 6, there may be some new pricing structures to be aware of. First of all, if you download the software from Rekordbox's website, you can download it for free. Export mode is still free as standard. You also now get performance mode for free to use with your laptop. So you can use your mouse and your keyboard to test out mixes, to help prepare your music inside performance mode now as well. And you don't have to pay a one-off fee beyond the 30-day free trial to access performance mode. Now, if you have a controller or a piece of what Pioneer are now calling a Pioneer software unlock hardware, then you can plug that controller in and you'll be able to use it. The jog wheels and all the buttons and everything will automatically work with the performance mode of Rekordbox like you are used to. So anyone out there that owns something like the DDJ 400, 800, 1000, even the RX2 still supported, the XDJ XZ, all of those units are all what you call hardware unlock. And I'm going to pop up, which you can pause the video, I'm going to pop up a screen which shows you all of the hardware supported to unlock the performance mode of the Rekordbox software. So you can pause it and just check if you're listed on that list. So 90% of you that already use performance mode are going to be covered. You're not going to have to pay anything extra to use the software that you're currently using. So where do the payments come in? Well, if you are a DJ that uses HID mode, for example, where you plug CDJs or XDJ players into the Rekordbox software, then now you may have to pay a subscription model to access the Rekordbox software because it doesn't unlock the software. That CDJ doesn't unlock the software. There's certain controllers, like I mentioned, that act as a dongle that unlock the software now. If you bought a controller secondhand, you don't need to worry about getting license keys off people now. You can buy a secondhand DDJ 400 or DDJ 800 and you don't have to get that user to deactivate their license for you to activate Rekordbox anymore. Okay, so the first of the paid plans is the core plan. What does this mean? Well, if you have something like I just mentioned, the CDJs or XDJs, and you use them in HID mode, something that isn't a dongle but works with Rekordbox, then you'll have to pay for the core plan. This means you can access everything that controller DJs can access. It's the standard performance mode, but you'll have to pay a subscription to access it from non-dongle devices. The core plan also offers up to 2 devices assigned to it. So you could have a backup laptop, you could have a laptop that you take on the go and a computer at home, and you'll be able to access Rekordbox on both of those devices. Lastly, we have the creative plan. Now, this is sort of open to everyone. If you want to make use of Rekordbox's new cloud management, cloud storage, then this is the plan you're going to need to have. The cloud storage isn't offered in any other plan. So when we get deep dive into some of these new features, just bear that in mind. I'll make sure you're aware of what features come in what plan as we look into each of them. The creative plan really is for those DJs that want to manage their music in the cloud, that want to access up to their music on up to 4 different devices. So if you want to prep music on your iPhone and then have it sync straight back to your laptop, this is the plan you're going to need to look at. In this plan, you also get access to the RMX effects in the software, and you also get access to saved sampler sequences. So if you're someone that uses the sequencer in Rekordbox religiously, it's quite an advanced hidden feature, but if you use it, you're now going to have to pay for the creative plan to keep using it. So that's something really worth bearing in mind. Across all the plans as well, if you're someone that uses something like DVS with Rekordbox, then unless you've got a DVS unlocked device, a hardware unlocked device, then you're going to need to pay for one of the plans to keep accessing Rekordbox DVS as well. Video comes for free, even though it's water stamped on the free version of the software, and if you pay for the subscription service, you get the full Rekordbox video. Again, if you paid for a license in Rekordbox 5, you might be worth just sticking with Rekordbox 5 if you're happy with it, but knowing in the future, if you go to Rekordbox 6 and use Rekordbox Video, you're going to have to subscribe to it now. All that being said, here you have the retail price and the discount price that Pioneer are putting out. They're obviously hoping that any current users look through what do I need to keep using and subscribe to one of the packages at that discount price. Now, if you subscribe at the discount price, you stay at that price forevermore until you unsubscribe. So it's worth looking into this. If you're going to upgrade, do it in the next few months. And if you're going to have to pay for a subscription, look at it in the next few months. Otherwise, if you're happy with just your controller and your Rekordbox software, you should be good to go. So if you're upgrading from Rekordbox 5 to Rekordbox 6, you'll need to migrate your library from that software to this new software. It is a new build of the software and there is a new library management system that has been built into it. So just remember this. Once you move your library from Rekordbox 5 to Rekordbox 6, if you update your library in Rekordbox 5, it won't automatically update what is in Rekordbox 6 and vice versa. If you go back, any new changes you've made in Rekordbox 6 won't be in Rekordbox 5. So it's a new library file. After that though, when you've got Rekordbox 6 open, the first thing you're probably going to want to check out is the new 3-band waveform color. Now you'll notice in my library I've got all these question marks next to these songs, and that's because it doesn't have this new analysis data, which is the 3-band waveform color. As soon as I load a song, it adds that analysis data in and you'll see the question marks disappeared. But if I go into the gear icon and then under the view tab, scroll down to my waveform color and move it from RGB now to 3-band, you'll see this nice new waveform color. You can see that we've got The blues, which are the low ends, you can see this in the overview waveform as well. We've got the oranges, which are the mids, and the whites, which are the highs. So you can very clearly see from the overview and from the scrolling waveform at the top how this track is structured, where the low end is, where the breakdowns are, where the drops are, and get a good feel for the track in its entirety when you're thinking about your lows, mids, and highs on your EQs, on your controller or DJ equipment. You'll notice though that there's still all question marks next to all of these tracks. So to update those, we just Command A or Control A to select all, right click and add new analysis data. And it will just add that new waveform color. See, it's analyzing all these tracks at the bottom. It will update all of those files with the new waveform color. So that's probably the first thing you're going to want to do once you've migrated your library, is just update all the analysis on your whole collection. The long requested light skin mode has now been added as well. So in the view tab, we can scroll down and you'll find here the skin mode. We can turn it to light. Now this is obviously just great if you're playing outdoors, if you're playing at festivals, in the sunshine, you can just see your screen much easier when it's in this mode. Lastly, the only new GUI updates really are the addition of these slightly different icons, same features in the same place, but you'll notice the icons look a bit different. Let's just switch it back to dark mode. Until now, one of the most annoying things in DJ softwares is when you move a file, change a file name, change a file path, and the software now can't find that file. So you start losing the location of some of your music files. Rekordbox have now added an auto relocate. So instead of trying to find the folder it's in, you can choose as many folders as you like. We can go into the settings here and go to advanced, and then here we've got auto relocate search folders, and we can search for our entire music, our movies, our desktop, and then even specified user folders, and we can add multiple ones of those. So if you know that your music is going to be stored within a couple of different folders on your laptop, you can just add them in here, and then when we go to file, display all missing files, you'll now see auto relocate, and it will just search through all of those folders that you've specified to try and find the files rather than finding each one individually. This is a really simple thing that needed to be added because it was one of the biggest problems that a lot of DJs faced. All you needed to do was change the name of one folder and all of the contents of that folder were then missing inside Rekordbox. So that's a great feature that's been added. Anyone out there that uses Ableton will be pleased to know that Ableton Link has now been added. It's just right here in the software. You click the link icon and it will sync to the master deck or sync to the tracks that you're playing in the software. If you right click on link, you can show the link subscreen and change the BPM, or tap a BPM in and it'll show up the links when you have them active there. So you can link so many different setups now into Rekordbox and have it all synchronized. Great for any DJs that want to put on a bigger live performance with lots of instruments. If you're not sure what in-flight is, it's a music promo service for labels. Anyone from independent labels up to huge labels. It's a way for them to get music to DJs around the world. I'm subscribed to some labels through the in-flight music service, so I can show you how that works in the Rekordbox software now. It's directly built into the Rekordbox software, making it super easy to access some of your latest releases. So in the gear icon, I can go here into view, make sure I've got in-flight ticked, and it will just show up over here on my tree view. I've already logged in, so you'll notice if I open this up, we've got Promo Locker, and you can see all of the tracks that are in my in-flight service. So I can go and choose to download them, what file format to download it as, you know, if I've hearted it or favorited it in the service online. And I can even see the comments that I've put in the service online that go back to the label. So this is really nice to see added into Rekordbox directly. These tracks can then even be dragged into your normal playlists as well as any streaming tracks. So this is another huge update in this centralized library management. Tracks from SoundCloud Go that's currently supported, tracks from Beatport Link that's currently supported, and tracks from in-flight can all be dragged into playlists and managed centralized in Rekordbox, not in their independent services. So that's a big one as well. If you're using a streaming service, you're going to make use of that upgrade. Now for the big one, the cloud library syncing. First of all, let me just say that this is only available in the creative plan of Rekordbox, so you will need to pay a subscription to access this part of the software and this service. Even if your hardware unlocks the software, you don't get access to this cloud syncing, you will have to pay for it. At the moment, Dropbox is supported, so Dropbox is the place where your files will be stored in the cloud. Rekordbox then has its own servers, which will store all of the things like your hot queue information and the grid information and your playlist information. All that information is stored in Rekordbox's servers. So then Rekordbox can say, okay, take this file from Dropbox, and now I'm going to show you the information of that file on your laptop, or you can then go to your iPhone and you can see the information of that file on your iPhone, and then even download it directly to your iPhone from Dropbox with all the information attached to it from Rekordbox. So that's kind of the thinking behind it. With the creative plan, you get up to 4 devices, so you could have a backup on another laptop, you can download music to your phone to then prepare and play on your phone. So really, this is the plan. If you're going for the cloud syncing, you've got to go for this plan and you've got to kind of commit to it. How does it work? Well, you will need the Dropbox application installed on your laptop. It won't work without that. And then in the new My Page tab in the software, this is where all your account settings and things are now, you will see there's a cloud library sync once you've upgraded your plan. In Library Sync, we can sync the library to another device and connect a cloud storage service. I think there will be more coming in the future, but for now, Dropbox is the one that is supported. If you're new to Dropbox and don't already own a Dropbox account, you do get 2 gigabytes free to start with, but your music library will very quickly go above 2 gigabytes, so that's where you will have to start paying for some online storage, whether it's in Dropbox now or in something supported in the future. You'll be paying to store your music in their service. The last thing I want to explain is that Dropbox does still reside on your laptop. So what it means is other devices can access those files, but the files are still stored on your laptop using up that file space in Dropbox. You can then decide to just solely store them in the cloud, but then remember, you will need an internet connection to listen to those files and access them. So if you go out the house with your laptop and want to listen to some music, if you've only stored it in the cloud, then you can't listen to them. So if you understand Dropbox and kind of how it works, or you've used it before, then this should make sense. Okay, moving forward into the software. How does it work in the software? Well, you'll see now next to all of the tracks, we've got an icon. The cloud icon, when it's solid, means this track is uploaded to the cloud. When it's got a strike through, it means it's not uploaded to the cloud and it's still stored somewhere on your laptop. Okay, I could take this track here, I could right click it and just go Cloud Library Sync, Upload, and choose Dropbox. It'll then ask me if I want to copy or move the files. If I copy the files, it will be taking up twice as much storage on my laptop, unless I solely then manually go and push it to the cloud away from my laptop, like I just mentioned. So I'm just going to copy it for now, but you could move all of your library up onto the cloud, into the Dropbox folders, and manage your music now in Dropbox rather than something like iTunes, for example. It's a very easy way to get out of iTunes. You can just move everything and it'll take all your iTunes folders and go put them in Dropbox. Anyway, I'm going to copy it there, and then you'll notice up on the top of the screen here we have this icon now. It automatically syncs it to Dropbox. It's done it super quick because it was just one song, but you'll see a little loading icon there as it's uploading. If you're unsure, you can sync now or you can pause the sync, but this is now a Rekordbox toolbar icon. Okay, so it's as simple as that. What does that mean for Dropbox? Well, that music file is now stored in my Dropbox. If I quickly locate in my Dropbox folder, I will have, it automatically creates a Rekordbox folder, and in there you'll see that we have contents and then we've got all of the tracks here. If I go back to the Rekordbox software and go back to one of these tracks and I right click and go show in Finder, you will also see that this is here in the Dropbox. Now, when you go to different devices, you can access that file on different devices because it's been uploaded to the cloud platform. I know it's all quite confusing. It's a new thing for the DJ industry, but I can guarantee it's the way it's going to go. And I think we're going to be storing a lot of data online in the cloud, especially as things like 5G come along and transfer speeds get faster. Everything's going to go up to the cloud, freeing up space on your laptop if you want to. The last things I want to mention with this new cloud syncing service is that you can decide to bring stuff back out of Dropbox to its location. You can right click the track again, go to Cloud Library Sync and move to local storage and move it back the other way if you want to take it out of Dropbox a few months down the line. The same goes for if you're on the creative plan and you downgrade back to the free version because you don't use the cloud syncing anymore. You'll stop being able to access your files on all your different devices and you won't be able to put things on the cloud anymore. But if you re-engage that service at a later date, it should just pick back up where you started, because at the end of the day, the Dropbox file, you can manage all your music in there now. I can go in here and I can create new folders like new music, and then I can drag tracks into there and store them in that location and then just drag them straight into the Rekordbox software, and they've been imported and they're stored in the cloud at the same time. Before I move on to the iOS application, I just wanted to mention one more update in the export mode of Rekordbox. Rather than exporting music to USB, which I would still recommend, but you now have an option to export it directly to the Rekordbox application on your phone, and this is still free. And then you can get some cables and wires and go from your iPhone into the back of the CDJ or XDJ, supported CDJs and XDJs, and play music directly, scroll your library directly from your phone's application. And this is still free. Where it differs to the paid service is that you can't download the music from the cloud, obviously, to your phone, and you can't change the hotkeys and all that kind of stuff, and it syncs back the other way. What you can do is just export to mobile using Mobile Library Sync, which we have here. If I just open up the app and go to my settings and connect to Rekordbox, they've got to be on the same Wi-Fi connection, and then I just press OK on the screen and I can connect to my phone, press connect, and then it will connect to the mobile device for me to export music to. Now you can see we can successfully transfer music to the phone, as simple as this. You'll see on the Rekordbox screen we have these icons which tell me which tracks are already on my phone and which aren't. So let's say I want to put this one on my phone. I just simply right click it, Mobile Library Sync, transfer to the mobile device. Then you can see the icons turn grey, and it means that's now in my Rekordbox app on my phone. Now where does this come into play? It's simply if you want to plug your iPhone into the CDJs or XDJs and play music from this as a storage device rather than a USB. But at this stage, I would probably recommend still just using a USB drive, because you need a whole set of connections, which I'll put in a screen grab popping up, to get this working with CDJs. Inside the new Rekordbox iOS app, it's really simple to use. Just bear in mind it is just for iOS at the moment. I don't know if they've upgraded Android or if they have plans to, just to answer that question. But once you get the app downloaded, it's free. You just sign into your Rekordbox account. You can then activate the Cloud Library Sync if you've gone for that option in the subscription plan, and log into your Dropbox service there. Coming back out, you can freely connect to Rekordbox using the export mode and transfer music over the same wireless connection here. But we can also import songs from our phone too. There's some in-app player settings, things like the key display and the waveform color, which you can change in there. We've got Pro DJ Link connection for linking up with an Ethernet cable and a load of adapters to a Pro DJ Link setup, and then some CDJ and XDJ settings. But what I really want to get stuck into is how user-friendly this app is for preparing music. So coming out of the settings, I can swipe up from the bottom and I've got some players. Literally swipe across, we've got two players in the center. Player A and B, and player B. So we can just swipe back and forth between the decks and test out different songs. To load a track, if I just tap here, go to, I've got playlist. I can see all my playlists now from my Rekordbox library if I go in Crossfader Music Pack. Some of these I've already downloaded. You can see the ones that I've got synced up to the cloud in Dropbox via this little icon here, the cloud with the downward arrow. If I wanted to download some more to my phone, just tap the three dots, select the tracks that I want to download. Can't do that one because it's not in the cloud, but these two, for example, and press this download button here. You'll see it then downloads the tracks, and they're available to play. You can upload back the other way, tracks from your phone up to the cloud. Coming out of there, we could even add some songs to a new playlist. So it's really simple. You can just tap this, choose which playlist you want from this drop down, and then we can just tick songs and add them to a playlist. And this also replicates in the Rekordbox software. So let me come out of there. We can search through our library and just do lots of management with playlists. Now let's say I load a song onto the deck. Let's have this one. Once a track's loaded into the deck, you can scrub through it. Press play. You can hear the track playing. We can do simple things like beat jump through the song. We can set an auto loop here. If we decide we like a loop and want to save it as a hot cue or as a memory point, we can tap this button to save it in the memory point. We get the red marker here. We can swipe to the right to set up a hot cue, and you can just do this on the fly. We could scrub through the track and think, I need a hot cue on the breakdown. There we go, hot cue set. You've got quantize, which you can turn on and off here. You've got your cue and play buttons, and then beyond that, we can even edit the grid and say, oh, the grid's a bit wrong, and do all our grid editing here. You can check the memory points, delete any that you don't want, and even change the hot cues and check your hot cues, deleting any that you don't want. So super tactile. Then once you've set up some hot cues, you could swipe across and think, well, I wonder how that track mixes with another one. You could find a point in that track. Let's just go source of here. And we think, I want to see how it sounds mixing the intro over this section. We can link the two tracks, hit play, plays both tracks at the same time. We can blend, see how they sound. We can beat jump them together, and they'll move 8 bars at a time or whatever predetermined value. And straight away it's super intuitive, just because this can all be done with one finger as you're holding your phone. Onto deck B, it's the same as deck A. Really good for preparing your music. And then obviously, if you've got this synced up with cloud syncing, you can go back to your Rekordbox library on your laptop, and those hot cues are set up, ready to go. So if I just check, here we have example all night. And then as you can see in the software, if I load the track, we have the 4 hot cues that I've set. The memory points we have set here, that loop that I'd set in the memory bank, and it's just synchronized straight back to the laptop. So that's just how powerful this creative subscription plan is, by being able to seamlessly plan your music and your sets on your phone, and then just jump back to your laptop and export, ready to go and DJ. And there it is, the all new Rekordbox 6. Now we'd love to know in the comments what you think of this software. Are there any features that you can't wait to get stuck in with? Things like the cloud sync, syncing your library. Are you a user of in-flight? Are you going to start using that in the software? Do you have any questions about the software? Or, are you wondering how it's going to work with your setup? Please drop the comments below and let us know your thoughts. For 90% of the users out there that are using Rekordbox, it's probably not going to affect them too much if they don't want the new features like the cloud syncing. So if you've just got a DDJ400, I know it's going to be one of the most common questions, but if you have a DDJ400, you're probably going to just be using it in exactly the same way. You won't have to pay anything else to upgrade, and you can carry on using Rekordbox, the latest version, with your controller. But where it starts to get a bit more complicated and you may have to start paying is if you're using lots of expansions, if you've got a unit where you want to have control of video in its full entirety, or if you really want to harness this new technology of syncing your cloud to the library, then that's where you're going to have to start paying a monthly fee. What do we think about that? Well, as far as software goes, I really like to have the option to buy a piece of software outright. So I know that I can pay a set amount. If I'm going to commit to that software, I pay a set amount and I've got it for life, theoretically. I start to get a little bit worried when things are just subscription based, even though I do use a lot of subscription based softwares. I just start to get a bit antsy, like, well, these could start adding up. If I add this to 10 other softwares that I'm using at the moment for different industries or whatever, it can start to add up. So that's sort of my little gripe with it. The one plus side of subscription softwares is they can add new features without upping your price too much. They could add different plans, they can upgrade the software and probably offer more as a service if they have a paid subscription model. So that's just something to bear in mind. I'm really excited to see how the cloud-based platform, how it develops under Pioneer's umbrella, how it moves forward, and how other brands kind of come at this as well, and whether this is going to be standard across all brands and cloud libraries are going to be the future of music management in the DJ industry. Let us know your thoughts below, please, 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 and remember to subscribe, comment, share, do all that good stuff to help us keep making more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon with loads of Rekordbox 6 tutorials coming your way.